Hey. What's going on, Nuclear Dad Gang? We are locked in once again. This is episode 3. And today we are going to talk about productivity, procrastination, and motivation. Maybe not in that particular order, but that will be the topic. I have not thought of a title yet, but I'm going to try to crank these episodes out as quickly as I can. I want to give you information, I want to give you stats, a little humor when appropriate, but I want to motivate you to be the better man, to be the best man that you can. I want you to start where you are. I want you to set goals and become the person that you know you can be if you're not there yet. If you're there yet, then it's just some easy listening for you. We're going to throw in some music. I like to keep the songs according to the theme or the topic that we're speaking about on whatever particular day we're doing an episode. So today is going to be about procrastination, motivation, and productivity. So without further ado, let's get some music. Let's get cracking. There's not really much to say. I don't write these things down. I don't script it. I just come up with an idea. I come and I do a little research, open up some tabs, find some interesting articles, some interesting data, and I just spit it out. So let's see how this goes. Okay, that was Working Day and Night by Michael Jackson. And this episode is going to have a little bit more music because I want it to be motivating. Full disclosure, pre-warning, this will have a good amount of hip-hop. It will have some, what's the word I want to use? some questionable language, some words that you might not want to play if your children are around, or if your mother's in the car. You don't want to play this around mom. Now, all of the talks will be PG. I try not to use any seasonable language, but some of the music that was picked is strictly for motivational purposes. I am not getting a kickback by any of these artists, but I remember a time in life when I was trying to get my head right, when I was trying to figure out my hustle. These were some of the songs in my playlist, and it motivated me to do some extraordinary things in life. It helped me go above and beyond. Now, I used to make music. I will not put any of my music on here because it is way too hardcore. I used to make gangster rap, but that was the life at the time. Now I'm older. I work a 9 to 5. I pay taxes. I have a wife and children. I go to work. I come home. I play with my kids. I hang out with my wife. We do things on the weekends. Regular life. But the music in this episode will be spicy, and that is for a reason. I want you to feel something when you listen to this episode. We're the 3rd episode in. They say 3rd time's a charm. I want you to feel something. I want you to feel invigorated. I want you to feel motivated. I want you to feel dangerous. I'm going to keep using that word because men are dangerous. I want you to be dangerous, sir. I want you to stand up, poke your chest out. By the time this is over, I want you to have a newfound sense of hustle. I want you to get off your butt. Not saying you're lazy. I don't know you. But I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 things in your life that you have wanted to do that you keep putting off. It could be small. It could be big. I'm not judging. And I'm not going to guess what it is you want to do. Hey, you've been meaning to fix that sink? This will motivate you to do it. You've been meaning to start the repairs on that car, that project that you've been doing. You want to restore that old classic Bel Air? Hey, this will give you the motivation to do it. You want to go get your doctorate? This will give you the motivation to do it. That's where we are right now. So, prelude number 2 out of the way. I'm going to throw in some more music, and we're going to get this thing rolling. Yes, 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 yes. That was Soul Survivor by Young Jeezy. Akon on the hook. And when that song came out, man, oh man, you could not tell me that I was not headed for big places in the music industry, in the streets. Oh, I was living the life. And I was still a massage therapist at the time. And that's an interesting story. I never wanted to be a massage therapist. I never saw myself being a massage therapist. I'll give you the rundown real quick. After high school, I had been working since I was 10 years old. Little odd jobs, side hustles, all kind of things. I got my first actual paying job when I was a junior in high school. So I was 15. Did that all the way through high school, with the rest of high school. After high school, I still worked there, but I started dipping my toe into the music industry. There was a guy that lived on my block, took me to my first studio session. Now, I had been writing rap since like the 6th grade. And this all has a point. I've been writing rap since the 6th grade. This guy takes me to my first studio session, Christmas Day in like 2002, I believe. Yeah, right after I graduated high school. The year I graduated, that winter, that Christmas, first studio session, and from then it was love. And all the studios that I was in, they were all hole in the walls, basement setups, not much equipment, but it was all we had, and it was enough. And I loved it. I loved every minute, the thrill, everything. So I'm a rapper now, and the same guy, his name is Lamar. So shout out to Lamar if you ever listen to this. I appreciate you, sir. So Lamar and I, we're headed down West Philly at this point. This is a couple years later. And I'm still at my job, or maybe a year later. I'm still at my job, and I stay overnight at a studio that his brother's friend, it was his brother's friend's house. So we're in the studio, and it's a snowstorm. And I had to be to work the next day. And I told my manager, I called and said, listen, I'm stuck in West Philly. Slow bus schedule. I wasn't driving. I was 17. Slow bus schedule. He blows up and says, I know you are at the studio. I know you want to be a rapper. So you go ahead and pursue your rap dreams. You go ahead and be Jay-Z. But you can't come back here. He basically fired me over the phone. So, that was that. Flash forward. I get heavy in the street. I was working for myself. I was selling some things that are all legal now, might I add. Everything that I sold is now legal, so I don't mind talking about it. No shame. I was just trying to survive. And that's going to bring us into this topic coming off the heels of that song, Soul Survivor. I was just trying to survive. And I had a buddy named 40. 40 was an amazing cook. And 40 went to culinary school in New England. Now, he had an externship in Florida. And I would check in on 40 periodically, see how he was doing, maybe send him some money, send him some things up to school, because financially, he wasn't in the best spot. He was, he's a student. You know how that goes. He didn't have certain necessities, right? He didn't have financial means all the time to take care of himself. He wasn't a bum, but he was a starving college student. So 40, he goes to this externship in Florida, and he's telling me about all of the Cuban women and the beach parties and the fun. And at this point, I'm almost 18. So I say, I need to get down there. And he would say that every time, man, you got to get down here. You got to get down here. You got to come to Florida. So me being in the industry that I was in, I understood the prices of certain things were cheaper. Further south you go, cheaper it is. And I had a little money saved up. And I said to myself, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find a connect. Because at the time, all I did was record music and watch Scarface and hustle. That was my life. And Scarface was set in Florida, right? So you understand where I'm going with this. Now, I had all the means, all the financial capability, and all of the intention to go to Florida and expand my business. And the plan was to go to Florida, get it, bring it back up to the East Coast. And I had enough to give me a nice head start. The flight is booked. Now, my birthday is in September. I hate the heat. So I came up with a plan. I'm going to do this in September, around my birthday. Tourist season should be over. And I had no time limit on how long I could stay down there. And I didn't have inexhaustible money, but I had a good amount of money. Because 40 said, hey, I got a hotel room and it's a suite. And I forgot how long he was going to be down there, but it would be well past the fall. He says, if you can get down here, you don't have to pay for a hotel room. That's one expense checked off. And because he was a cook, he said you don't have to worry about buying food. That was another expense checked off. Now, at this time, some of the popular rappers, they were going down to Miami. They were renting Bentleys and, all the stuff, Biscayne and all these places, right? And I wanted to experience that. But more than anything, I wanted a new connect. I wanted to expand my drug operation. So that was the plan. And I would come home sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning from late nights being in the street. And I would go to sleep. I would wake up at about 10 and go do it again. And I did this whole summer, the entire summer, with the plans of I need to stack as much money as I can because I'm going to Florida, baby. And the closer I got to September, let's just say August, late July, early August, I started getting second thoughts. Not because I was afraid. I wasn't afraid of what would happen to me. I wasn't afraid of jail. I was afraid of disappointing my mother. And I was deathly afraid of my father. And it's like, if my mom has to visit me in jail, it's going to break her heart. And if I die in the street, my father is going to find a way to bring me back and kill me. This was my thinking. So the closer I got to the fall, the more apprehensive I got for those reasons. And I remember I would look through the paper, the newspaper. I would look at the classified ads. And in this order, I would look up apartments because I know my parents didn't appreciate me coming in as late as I was. And I didn't want to have to give them updates of my comings and goings because I thought I was grown. So I would look at apartments. Then I would look at jobs because I knew I couldn't do the street thing forever. And then I would look at puppies and cars because I always wanted a dog. I grew up with animals. I wanted another dog. And I would look at cars because I needed some wheels. So one day, I come in and I see an advertisement for massage therapy. And I said, that might be interesting. Sounds fun. Massage therapy training, I should say. So I call the school. Give them my info. Tell them what I wanted to do. And they said, we'll send something out. We'll send out an information package. Okay. Information package never came. So flash forward. Now it is the end of August. And I'm starting to see advertisements for back to school clothes and things like that. And I remember asking my father, did I get any mail or a phone call from a school? And my father thought that I was just going to be a hoodlum. So he was like, school? What kind of school? And I said, I heard about this massage school and I might want to go. And they were supposed to send me some information. And he said, well, no, I didn't see anything. There's nothing here for you. All right, cool. It's not meant to be. Florida it is. But this feeling kept nagging me. And now I know. I call it the voice. And the voice would say, are you sure you want to do this? because you're good in Philly. You know how to survive Philly. You're familiar with the territories and the people. You know how things move. But Florida's a whole different ballgame. And the people that you're looking to get involved with play for keeps, right? Because if you know anything about the drug culture in the 80s, Florida was a dangerous place to be. The first time in American history, automatic weapons were used in broad daylight at an alarming rate. And I'm not talking about 1920s, 1930s Tommy guns. I'm talking about Mac 10s and you know, all the stuff. I'm not going to name all the guns, but crazy things was happening in Florida in the 80s and in the 90s. And this is the early 2000s. So it's still fresh. You know, that era is still it was a time where certain things were normalized. If quotas weren't met, if violations happened, you would pay. You would be made an example of. And the voice was saying, are you sure you're ready to do this? Because what you're thinking about doing, you now, well, you're about to be 18, so there will be no kiddie jail if you get caught. And you are thinking of becoming a interstate drug trafficker. That was my plan. And I started to get more apprehensive. So another night, another morning, I come in. It's about 5 in the morning. I'm looking through the paper again. Apartments, cars, puppies, jobs. And at the very end, I see an advertisement from another school for massage therapy. So I decided to stay up. Because I saw the address and I said, that is not far from my house. So I decided to stay up until about 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, when I knew they would be open. And I called them, said, hey, I saw this thing in the paper. I want to know some more about the program. The lady says, well, we can see some stuff out if you want, or you can come take a tour of the campus, whatever you want to do. I said, I'll take the tour. I'll come up and I'll take the tour. She says, when do you want to do it? I said, today. Today, ma'am. So I get a quick nap. She says, the students go on break from 12 to 1. I said, okay, I will be there at 12 o'clock. So I took a quick nap. I jumped on the bus. I made my way up there. I took a tour. I met with some of the teachers. And then I was asked, would you like to take a placement test? Why not? I'm here. Let's do it. I take a placement test and I score off the charts. Because I'm not a dumb guy. I'm pretty sharp mentally. And they say, you have one of the highest scores in the history of our school. If you are looking to be a student, you're the type of person we're looking for to have as a student. I said, okay, well then what is it going to cost me? They take me to an office and we discuss money. And they tell me the amount. And I smiled. And the lady must have mistaken my smile for nervousness. And she said, oh, it's okay. There's financial aid. There's all kind of grants. There's loans you can qualify for. I said, that's not why I'm smiling. I'm not smiling because I don't have the money. I'm smiling because I have that money in a shoebox under my bed. Do you take cash? And I think she thought that I was joking. And the next day I came back with money. And I said, oh, when does school start? She said in about 3 days. First class is in 3 days. Now, I thought maybe I shouldn't spend all of my money because this is my nest egg, right? This was going to be for my future. So I was able to secure a grant for $2,000, a loan for $2,000. So that means I was able to save $2,000. And that money floated me through the entire time I was in school. It was only a 9-month program. It was an accelerated course. But that $2,000 floated me. That paid for my lunch. That paid for my books. That paid for my scrubs. and I still had a little bit of product left. So I sold that at school, and that gave me a little extra money. And I'm saying all that to say, I made a decision preemptively. I was about to get into something that I know would not have been good for me. And the voice that I heard, which I now know is God, that voice redirected my footsteps. And I thought twice. And when I saw that advertisement in the paper, it called out to me and said, you should try this. Because again, I was still a rapper. And I figured if this massage thing doesn't work, I will have a legal means to launder money. This was my thinking 20 years ago. I was 17. If I were born in a more well-privileged socioeconomic situation, I probably would be running a Fortune 500 company right now. I don't doubt it. But I didn't go to college. Everything I learned about business, I learned on the street. And I never thought about getting rich. I just wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to survive. I was in survivor mode. And a lot of us are in survivor mode for far too long. And that voice redirected my steps. And I went to school. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And when I started working, it was hard in the beginning because massage therapy was not as popular as it is now back in 2005. But I still loved it. It was a struggle. It was a hustle. But I loved every minute of it. And not only did I survive, I thrived. Now, there were times where things were very lean, but I understand that God put those things in place for me to learn. Because the woman that I was with, now women, they want providers. I get it. But the person I was with was not the right person for me. Because if it's the right person, that's all the motivation you need to go out and make whatever you have to make. But when I was with this person, I struggled so much. And I realized that it was God telling me that I needed to break away from this person. She was not the girl that I was supposed to be with forever. And I was with her for a long time. And when we broke up, the world opened up to me. So I said all that to say, if you are in survivor mode, it's okay. If you are a procrastinator, it's okay. If you lack the motivation or the understanding of how to better your situation, it is okay, sir. Because we all go through it. Some of us have a later start in life. Some of us are misguided and misdirected. That happens. But that does not mean you still can't be the person that you want to be at 20, 30, 40, 50, or even 60. You may have gotten into a job because that's what you were told to do. Go to college, get a good job, work 30 years, retire. I know people who are retiring who are getting second careers and they're happier than they've ever been. That is not uncommon. But you were just surviving. And it puts you in a slump to where when you think about the person you want to be, you get butterflies. You get cold feet. You don't know how to move. But I'm going to tell you, you have to jump off the cliff and build your plane on the way down. And you will not hit the ground. Some of us have a fear of falling, but a lot of us have a fear of flying. So if you made it this far, this has struck a chord with you. You are a survivor. Now, we're going to talk about some things you can do to take this to the next level. So I want you to get ready. I want you to fasten your seatbelts. We are about to ascend into the stratosphere. And by the time it's all said and done, you're going to run this thing. I promise. Yes, yes, yes. That was Run This Town, Jay-Z and Rihanna. Now, when that song came out, I was in the middle of a bad relationship. But I still had this fire in my belly. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to be the person that I wanted to be. And I was trying everything I could with the means that I had at the time, the finances that I had. I was productive. No, I was busy. But I wasn't productive. I was pretty much done with rap. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling, what it had turned into, and I didn't want to be famous anymore. I didn't want to be a rapper. The thrill was gone. I still love the art form. I still write. Maybe not the stuff that I used to rap about back in the day, but I still write. And I wanted to be somebody special. I didn't really care about acceptance. I wasn't seeking validation. I wasn't seeking attention. I just wanted to be able to display my natural talents, which is reading, writing, creativity, art in a lot of different forms. And I was trying to figure that out. And I was burnt out because I was working sometimes, 16, 20-hour days with little or nothing to show for it. There was a time, again, survivor mode. There was a time when I was living off of potatoes because I was too prideful to go ask people for money. As a man, I could not ask people for money. Now, if it was a real emergency, I would ask a few people that I could, but most of the people I knew were in the same situation as me. So how am I going to ask them for anything? But I knew that I wanted to run this town, man. And I'm finally getting to a place where I'm fully coming into my own as a person, as a creator, as an entrepreneur, because I've tried many different things. One thing I'm not afraid of is taking a risk, because I risked a lot as a kid just to make a little money. So losing a little bit on an idea, whether it works or it doesn't work, never bothered me at all. So that's where I was and where I am now, the nuclear dad. I feel like this is my space. And I know there's other people talking about fatherhood and husbands and all of that, but they're just highlighting cool pictures and videos from family outings, and it's all this stuff is good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing anybody. We don't do that here. But I don't see anybody talking to you the way that I'm talking to you. There were some people who talk about, being the type of man that women will swoon over, and that's cool. They can have it. That's their lane. This is my lane. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you're still in the street. You ain't got to stay there. If you are in the street, I want you to think about a business plan and get out. That's what I want you to do if you're still in the street. If you have a job that you hate, I want you to think about an exit strategy and get out. If you're an entrepreneur and you just can't get things off of the ground, I want you to think about what makes you you and spin that into something beautiful and get out of that rut. That's what I want. So we are going to get into some things. This first thing is about motivation. How to motivate yourself. 20 ways to find motivation. And this is by Oberlo, which is an app for Shopify. So I'm just going to read it off. It's from January 11th, 2021. It's not easy to motivate yourself. If you're like many people, you know the drill. Set the alarm early, then can't get out of bed. Write a to-do list, then get overwhelmed and escape into a Netflix binge. Get excited about goals, then feel guilty for not working on them. These cycles seem like they'll never end, right? All the while, you feel drained, frustrated, full of self-doubt, and sometimes, just sometimes, like you've fallen into a bottomless pit of darkness and despair. Just me? Okay. Anyway, sure, there are ways to find motivation and critically stay motivated. Thankfully, here are 25 ways to motivate yourself so you can become the person you were meant to be and achieve your goals. How to find motivation. Just start. Don't you hate this advice? Still, there's a reason we've heard it a million times. It can work wonders. You don't always need to reason with your emotions or rationalize why you need to do something. You can deal with those negative feelings later on, at the right time. Instead, try setting aside all the negative emotions and simply start. As the famous writer Mark Twain once said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Wonderful quote. Like I said, jump off the cliff and build your plane on the way down. Break tasks into small steps. Whoa, another piece of groundbreaking, never heard before advice? Right. Again, there's a reason why so many people recommend that you use this tactic when trying to motivate yourself. Sometimes it's the simplest things done well that work the best. Remember, you can't do everything at once. That's why the painter Vincent van Gogh said, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Here's a method to help you find motivation to get things done. Write down what you need to do on a piece of paper. Then write down every single step you need to make it happen. Finally, ignore everything except the step you're working on. Compartmentalization is what they're talking about. Once in the flow, you may find it easier to continue with the next task. Create a positive mindset. Getting motivated is almost impossible if you're looking at the situation from a negative viewpoint. On the other hand, positivity can be energizing and help you to motivate yourself. So pause and ask yourself, what's good about the situation? As the author Catherine Pulsifer said, if we have the attitude that it's going to be a great day, it usually is. What they're talking about here is positive self-talk. Again, from the last show, look at the man in the mirror and tell yourself, you can do it. Create a feeling of gratitude. Over here, we call it datitude, but you know it is what it is. Create a feeling of datitude. When you find yourself stuck in a rut, it can feel impossible to motivate yourself. So before you try to motivate yourself, take a step back and try to appreciate how you feel. When you feel appreciation for yourself, it's much easier to stay motivated. One of the quickest ways to feel good about yourself is to practice datitude. It is almost entirely impossible to feel low and grateful at the same time. Two opposing forces cannot occupy the same space. It can't be day and night at the same time. You can't be happy and sad at the same time. Practice gratitude. Start by writing things down you're grateful for. We have gratitude journals. I will be posting it soon. These could be anything from your morning coffee to your pet or even the comfortable chair you sit on. In our case, we're going to look at our babies. We're going to look at our wife and be grateful that we have these wonderful experiences with these people that we love. That's all the motivation you need. Ideally, you can make this a part of your daily routine to find everyday motivation. I'm going to take it a step further. Create a collage. Take some pictures of your wife, some pictures of your kids, your pets, your house, your dream car, whatever. Make it into a collage. Turn it into your screensaver. You'll look at it at least a dozen times a day. It will be embedded in your subconscious mind that this is what's pushing me. When you procrastinate or make a mistake, it is easy to beat yourself up. In fact, if you're like many people, you may find that you internally speak to yourself in a mean way. Again, kill the negative self-talk. If you notice yourself doing this, pause and try to speak to yourself kindly instead. You wouldn't speak to someone else that way, so why do it to yourself? You deserve your own kindness. Try to remember your true inherent value as a human being. Then allow yourself to gently come back to the task at hand. Be constructive. When you realize you've made a mistake or finally bring yourself back from a procrastination session, you have a golden opportunity to learn and improve. Ask yourself, why did I make this mistake? And how can I avoid making the same mistakes in the future? If you do this act on what you learn, you'll transform mistakes into opportunities. I want to take a pause here. If you've never heard of a SWOT analysis, SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, look it up, print it out, or just get a blank piece of paper. Do a SWOT analysis. It will work wonders. You identify the strengths in your life, in your character. You identify the weaknesses in your life, in your character. You identify the opportunities in your life and in your character, and the threats in your life and in your character. The strengths you build on, the weaknesses you can outsource, the opportunities you capitalize on, and the threats you eliminate. Back to the article. The entrepreneur Arianna Huffington said, "We need to accept that we won't always make the right decisions, that we'll screw up royally sometimes. Understanding that failure is not the opposite of success is a part of success. Just because you failed doesn't mean you're done." Cut down your to-do list. To-do lists can help us organize our tasks and focus on what's important. However, they can also overwhelm us so much that we end up procrastinating even more. Again, compartmentalize. So if you're struggling to stay motivated, cut your to-do list down to a more manageable size. Each day, choose no more than 3 tasks and make that your new to-do list. Then ignore all but the first item. You may find that with time, you can take on a longer to-do list. Set attainable goals that excite you. Rome wasn't built in a day, sir. Sometimes you got to lay the groundwork. Before you lay the groundwork, you need to scout the territory. Scout the territory. Maybe you got to dig up a field. Maybe you got to level out the ground, lay the foundation, and then you build that bad boy brick by brick. If you have a goal that feels too big or unattainable, it may feel like you've been crippled with anxiety and fear. This is a surefire way to prevent yourself from developing motivation. Now, let go of the goals that paralyze you. Instead, choose exciting goals to help motivate yourself, but not so big that you freeze when facing them. As the politician Theodore Roosevelt said, we just talked about Teddy on the last show, keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Keep your head up, sir, and walk tall. Paraphrasing, but you get it. Imagine your future if you don't change. This tip can make inspiring yourself easy. Instead of focusing on the change you want, imagine the life you'll have if you don't stay motivated. Ask yourself, what will life be like in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? I did not want to do this podcast tonight. This is the third one in 3 days. But you know what? I got to put this work out. Here's a motivational quote from an anonymous wise person. You can either experience the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The choice is yours. I'm going to get some sound effects. Does that deserve a bomb or a mic drop or a hand clap or something? Reflect on how far you've come. How often do you pause? Reflect and appreciate how far you've come. How often? How often do you do that? I think it's necessary. If you're like many people, you probably don't give yourself enough credit for all the growth you've gone through. Take a few minutes to close your eyes and remember your successes. However small, relive and feel into them. Do this often to help you stay motivated. Remind yourself of your why. This is why I said do the screensaver on your phone. Everybody has a phone. Look at that thing. When you're feeling down, when you feel like you can't do it, look at that thing and imagine going home and telling your wife, I can't do it, baby. Imagine telling your sons or your daughters, Daddy just isn't the man he thought he was. You would never do that. So don't do it to yourself. You can get deterred. but don't stop. Take a break if you need to, but keep moving. Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, said motivation comes from working on things we care about. Take a moment to write down 3 reasons why you want to find motivation to get things done. Do you want to improve your fitness, get an education, save money, or start a business? Why? Keep coming up with answers until you find the ones that will help you stay motivated. This is why people make vision boards. Eliminate distractions mercilessly. I just said SWOT analysis. Eliminate the threats. Distraction is a threat. Distractions are the enemy of focus. If you want to get motivated, you have to eliminate distractions. As the billionaire investor Warren Buffett said, the difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything. The saying goes, you can have anything you want. However, you can't have everything you want. So turn your phone off and leave it in a different room. Close the door, turn the music off, delete distracting apps. Remind yourself that you are not punishing yourself, you're just focusing on your goals. Then remember what you truly want in the long term. Commit 100% to the deal you're making. Remember, nothing comes for free. When you want something, you have to give something in return, whether it's time, effort, hard work, or emotional discomfort. That's the deal. Take a moment to recognize and appreciate the deal you're making. Then commit to it 100%. Maya Angelou, the activist and poet, once said, "Nothing will work unless you do." Declutter and tidy. Say it again. Declutter and tidy. It is extremely difficult to motivate yourself if you can't see your bedroom floor and your desk looks like something exploded on it. Have you ever heard the expression, tidy space, tidy mind? I haven't, but I have experienced it. Your surroundings, your environment, home or work, is a representation of your mental space. If your space is cluttered, it makes sense why you have 1,000 thoughts all swimming around at the same time. If you can at least get rid of the things you don't need and organize the things that you want and you need, it will do wonders. It will be easier to work in a space like that. What's your work environment like? Is it tidy, neat, or clean, or is it messy and cluttered? Work from the outside in and create an environment that helps you stay motivated. Change your inputs. You know the saying, you are what you eat, and we consume a lot every day. Food, music, podcasts, blogcasts, TV, and social media. Again, back to the last conversation on testosterone. The food you eat, the things you put into your body, but they went a step further and they talk about the things you put into your mind. Be leery of that. If you're watching this crazy stuff on television and social media, you're watching bum fights and meth addicts break bottles over each other's head, get rid of it. You're watching reality TV shows with women catfighting and men throwing drinks on people, stop it. Because you are what you eat. And that includes mentally. Because our minds do consume things. So your mind is eating junk food, your life is going to be junk. You're going to be thinking junky thoughts. If you're finding it challenging to motivate yourself, mix things up a bit. Listen to a motivational podcast. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast, come on now. Check out a must-read book or watch some inspiring videos. This can help you freshen up, get energized, and find motivation to get things done. Look to the people in your life for motivation. Some people energize us. Others we find draining. Your kids should be all the motivation you need. Your children and your wife. The motivational speaker Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Facts. So when possible, seek out enthusiastic, motivated people to spend time with. You can listen to this podcast over and over if you need to. Let yourself get wrapped up in their positive energy, and you may start developing self-motivation too. I'm telling you, keep your head up and you can do it. Go back and listen to this again if you need to, as many times as you need to. Ask for help from friends and family. If you are fortunate enough to have friends and family that you can ask for help, do reach out. Don't be prideful. If you are really struggling to motivate yourself, considering asking a close friend or family member for help. You could ask them to hold you accountable and check up on your progress. I'll do you one better. Find an accountability app. People are good too, but accountability apps will send you task reminders. If you can't do that, you don't got space on your phone, put it in your calendar. And don't dismiss it. Look at it, get it done. If you can't get it done, schedule it for another day. Set goals. By expressing your goals out loud to someone else, it can help to make them feel more real. Plus, if you know someone will check in on your progress, you may be more likely to follow through. Follow inspiring people to motivate you. The Nuclear Dad, shameless plug. There are so many inspiring people out there who can help you to motivate yourself. There is an entrepreneur, teacher, musician, or politician you find inspiring. Reach out to them. Listen to them. You can also learn how people you admire stay motivated, then apply the same lessons in your own life. As the Greek philosopher Socrates once said, smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences, and stupid people already have all the answers. That's facts. Listen to an upbeat song. Now you understand why I put the playlist on. If you need to motivate yourself quickly, try this super simple tip. Listen to a song you love that's upbeat, inspiring, and full of energy. Bonus points. Dance like a crazy person at the same time. Then as soon as the song finishes, don't pause, dive straight into action. It may be one of your favorite ways to stay motivated. Remember the power and your potential. Look, you are powerful and you have enormous potential. You may not feel like it sometimes, but you may even feel like, you're silly for saying it, but it's true. The author Alice Walker said the most common reason people give up their power is because they think they don't have any. So please take a moment to dig deep and try to connect with your inner power and potential. Imagine what you could achieve. Become still. Listen to that quiet voice in your head saying, you can do this. Once again, Alice Walker, the most common reason people give up their power is because they think they don't have any. Think about that. She just said you are the plug. And you out here acting like you ain't got no juice. It's time to juice up, fellas. Let's stay motivated. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast is sponsored by Family Man Magazine and thenucleardad.com. Family Man Magazine will be available this Father's Day, June 19, 2022. All right. Moving right along. That was Go Getter. Another Young Jeezy classic. I mean, you got to give it to the guy. He raps about cocaine all the time, but he makes motivating music for people from street cultures. It is what it is. And because that's my background, not my foreground, but that's my background, I'm giving you some tidbits of some of the things that I've learned along the way that have helped me survive in some of these situations and become the man that I am, the man that my family needs me to be, and the man that I need me to be, and the person that you guys need me to be. As I'm doing this, I don't have any followers. This is not something that I, promoted prior to the launch. I just decided I was going to do it, and I did it, and I'm doing it. And I want to keep this momentum up. And I often go back and listen to the things that I've done just so I can critique myself and say, okay, maybe this time I want to try that. Self-improvement, man. We're on a third show, but let's see how things go when we're at show 300, right? Let me get that Joe Rogan deal. Spotify, holla at me. I need that Joe Rogan money, man. My babies need that. And I'm going to go get it because I'm a go-getter. So are you, sir. So are you. So we got into tips to help you stay motivated, right? Now we are going to get into an article by the New York Times. This is from 2019. It says, why you procrastinate. It has nothing to do with self-control. If procrastination isn't about laziness, then what's it about? If you've ever put off an important task by, say, alphabetizing your spice drawer, it wouldn't be fair to describe yourself as lazy. After all, Alphabetizing your spice drawer, it wouldn't be fair. Wait a minute. I just messed that all up. Let me start from the top. Forgive me. I'm not going to delete this. If you've ever put off an emotional task, say by like alphabetizing your spice drawer, it wouldn't be fair to describe yourself as lazy. After all, alphabetizing requires focus and effort. And hey, maybe you even went the extra mile to wipe down each bottle before putting it back. And it's not like you're hanging out with your friends or watching Netflix, you're cleaning. Sometimes your parents will be proud of it. This isn't about laziness or bad time management. This is about procrastination. If procrastination isn't about laziness, then what's it about? Okay, etymologically, procrastination is derived from a Latin verb, procrastinar, to put off until tomorrow. It's more than just voluntary delaying. Procrastination is also derived from the ancient Greek word akrasia, doing something against our better judgment. It's self-harm, said Dr. Pierce Steele, a professor of motivational psychology at the University of Calgary and the author of the Procrastination Equation. I'm going to get that book. I suggest you too. See if it's on Audible. I got an Audible account. Oh yeah, Nuclear Dad Blogcast is on Audible. The Procrastination Equation: how to stop putting things off and start getting things done. That self-awareness is a key part of why procrastination makes us feel so rotten. When we procrastinate, we are not only aware that we are avoiding a task in question, but also that doing so is probably a bad idea, and yet we do it anyway. This is why we say that procrastination is essentially irrational, said Dr. Fuchsia Serios, professor of psychology at the University of Sheffield. It doesn't make sense to do something you know is going to have negative consequences. She added, people engage in irrational cycles of chronic procrastination because of an inability to imagine negative moods around a task. Wait, we procrastinate because of bad moods? In short, yes. Procrastination isn't a unique character flaw or a mysterious curse on your ability to manage time, but a way of coping with challenging emotions and negative moods induced by certain tasks, boredom, anxiety, insecurity, frustration, resentment, self-doubt, and beyond. Procrastination is an emotional regulation problem. It's not a time management problem, said Dr. Tim Fickle. That's interesting. Fickle, professor of psychology and a member of the Procrastination Research Group at the Charleton University in Ottawa. In 2013, a study with Dr. Sickle and Dr. Serios found that procrastination can be understood as the primacy of short-term mood repair. See that again. A study found that procrastination can be understood as the primacy of short-term mood repair over long-term pursuit of intended actions. Put simply, procrastination is about being more focused on the immediate urgency of managing negative moods than getting on with the task, Dr. Serios said. The particular nature of our aversion depends on the given task or situation. It may be due to something inherently unpleasant about the task itself, having to clean a dirty bathroom or organize a long, boring spreadsheet for your boss, or organize your office or your workspace, or organize your studio. But it may also result from deeper feelings related to the task, such as self-doubt, low self-esteem, anxiety, or insecurity. Staring at a blank document, you might be thinking, I'm not smart enough to write this. Even if I am, what will people think about it? Writing is so hard. What if I do a bad job? All of this can lead us to think that putting the document aside and cleaning the spice drawer instead is a pretty good idea. But of course, this only compounds the negative associations we have with the task. And those feelings will still be there whether we come back to it, along with increased stress and anxiety, feelings of low self-esteem and self-blame. In fact, there are entire bodies of research dedicated to the ruminative, self-blaming thoughts that many of us tend to have in the wake of procrastination, which are known as procrastinatory cognitions. The thoughts we have about procrastination typically exacerbate our distresses and stress. which contribute to further procrastination, Dr. Surreal said. So the longer you stay in that funk, the longer you have that negative self-talk, the less you're going to do. Just do it. Nike. But the momentary relief we feel when procrastination is actually what makes the cycle especially vicious. In the immediate present, putting off a task provides relief. You've been rewarded for procrastinating, Dr. Serio said, and we know from basic behaviorism that when we're rewarded for something, we tend to do it again. This is precisely why procrastination tends to be an one-off behavior, but a cycle. This is precisely why I'm reading too fast. I'm sorry. This is precisely why procrastination tends not to be a one-off behavior, but a cycle, one that easily becomes a chronic habit. Over time, chronic procrastination has not only productivity costs, but measurably destructive effects on our mental and physical health, including chronic stress and general psychological distress and low life satisfaction. Symptoms of depression and anxiety, poor health behavior, chronic illnesses, and even hypertension and cardiovascular diseases. Procrastination will kill you. That's what you're saying in this. If you don't understand that not living up to your... I mentioned Al Bundy in the first episode, how he didn't live up to his potential. And you could see that he looked miserable. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. And believe it or not, when you smile, signals are sent from your heart to your brain, creating mood-enhancing hormones and chemicals. The saying says, fake it till you make it. So if you're in a bad mood, go somewhere by yourself and smile. You don't gotta look in the mirror, but smile for a minute straight and tell me you don't feel better. If you say you don't, you're lying. Fake it till you make it. Go smile. So I'm going to add that on the way to stay motivated. Smile. Listen to that music like they said. Do a dance like they said. Write a list. In the process of doing all of that, smile. And tell me you won't want to do something, even if it's the smallest thing on the list. But I thought we procrastinate to feel better. If it seems ironic that we procrastinate to avoid negative feelings, but end up feeling even worse, it is because it is. And once again, we have evolution to thank. Procrastination is a perfect example of present bias, our hardwired tendency to prioritize short-term needs ahead of long-term ones. We really weren't designed to think ahead into the future, because we need to focus on providing for ourselves in the here and now, says psychologist Hal Hershfield, a professor of marketing at the UCLA Anderson School of Management. Hershfield's research has shown that on a neural level, we perceive our future selves more like strangers than as part of ourselves. When we procrastinate, parts of our brains actually think that the task we're putting off and the accompanying negative feelings that await us on the other side are somebody else's problem. You're going to have to deal with this, sir. To make things worse, we're even less able to make thoughtful, future-oriented decisions in the midst of stress. When faced with a task that makes us feel anxious or insecure, the amygdala, the threat detector part of the brain, perceives that a task is a genuine threat, in this case to our self-esteem or well-being. Even if we intellectually recognize that putting off the task will create more stress for ourselves in the future, our brains are still wired to be more concerned with removing the threat in the present. Researchers call this the amygdala hijack. Your brain has been hijacked by negative thoughts stemming around procrastination. Think about that. Take your mind back, fellas. Unfortunately, we can't just tell ourselves to stop procrastinating. That's what I said. Stop it. And despite the prevalence of productivity hacks, focusing on the question of how to get more work done doesn't address the root cause of procrastination. That is a mouthful and a lot to think about. I want you guys to take into consideration that this is not judgment. I'm talking to me as much as I'm talking to you. I'm going to grow as I do this podcast, because these are conversations that I have with myself, but I very seldomly say them out loud. I look up stuff like this all the time, but to myself. Maybe while my wife's watching a movie, maybe while my kids are sleeping and she's at work, and I'm just sitting there thinking, maybe on my break at work. But I think about this stuff all the time. So I said, procrastination can kill you, right? And I'm going to prove it with data. This is from a site called Luxafor.com. And the article is entitled, "The 7 Destructive Effects of Procrastination You Should Be Aware of." Let's get into it. Does a mundane daily schedule take a toll on your activity management? Is it hampering your work productivity and deviating the focus? That's probably the procrastination effects that you are dealing with. By the way, a quick refreshment with an overdrive can be a good idea. Are they promoting soft drinks? Whatever. A quick refreshment with an overdrive can be a good idea to kill boredom and get back to work. Handling stressful work commitments and deadlines can result in the perception of dullness toward that specific task, and you tend to adopt the "I'll do it tomorrow" attitude. Remember, procrastinar from the Latin, to put off till tomorrow. Harmful effects of procrastination are lack of self-esteem or doubting your abilities to accomplish the task. Procrastination is often associated with something painful, dull, or challenging. It creates an illusion of the job much more trivial than it is, making mountains out of molehills, anthills, whatever you want to call it. So they're going to talk about how this affects your life and your health, right? And before we get into that, they mention self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, I want you to find something that you would have never thought about doing. Nothing major. Maybe it's if you're not a hands-on guy, change your doorknob. If you don't know how to change a tire, Google it on YouTube. YouTube it on YouTube, whatever. Learn to change a tire. Do something small that you would have never thought about doing. You will get a sense of accomplishment. A sense of accomplishment will actually boost your self-esteem. Life hack. Here are the top 3 types of procrastination that affect your life. Avoiding tasks, taking longer, not completing the work in fear of dismissal. You are being confused in taking up a decision or trying to confirm your thoughts through others' approval. Procrastination's negative effects are gradual and affect your mental health slowly. Although the reasons might vary from person to person, the lack of confidence remains a primary concern. With early alarms of being a procrastinator, you can be a chronic one. And try to reassess the loopholes that are backing you from yielding the right level of productivity. Common symptoms of procrastination are finding it delightful to extend time limits, underestimating your job, behaving lame during work hours, over-perfectionist, overthinking. They call it the paralysis of analysis. Don't overthink it, man. Just get it done. Always being sluggish to deal with difficulties. While most people ignore these symptoms, the effects of procrastination on your life and mental health could be vulnerable. Let's identify them and explore ways to overcome them. Okay, the 7 harmful effects. Procrastination affects physical and psychologically. It can deteriorate your confidence levels and trigger your weaknesses and fears from the core. It can lead to a vulnerable plight that you certainly would not wish to witness. Check out the procrastination health effects and needed solutions. You can spike your stress levels. You'll be burdened with regrets and guilt, fear of failure and fretfulness, incompleting tasks, making complaints, blowing off opportunities, and missing targets. There's a lot to read. I'm not going to get into it. Let's go to a different one. I think that was written by somebody in England because I was just listening to the verbiage. It's not how we speak in America. Let's find something written by some Americans. They're talking about Dr. Serios again. I like that guy. Yeah, so these are Canadian doctors. Let's see. Let's scroll. Yeah, I don't want to get into too much of this procrastination talk. All you need to know is that it's gonna kill you, man. You can look up as much as you want. You can spend all day Googling and YouTubing the negative side effects. But at the end of the day, you're going to lose time. You're going to blow opportunities. You won't meet your goals. You could possibly ruin your career or your family or your life. You will have lower self-esteem, poor decision-making skills. You could damage your reputation. And again, it will risk your health. Depression, anxiety, hypertension, cardiovascular issues. Because when you're stressed, your heart has to work overtime, right? Stress is a hormone, cortisol. Your heart comes into play. So keep your heart in a good space. Speak nice to yourself. Ain't that what the rapper said? Talk to me nice. Speak nice to yourself. Lift yourself up. Tell yourself that you can do it, buddy. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling me. I had no idea of how to do a podcast. Yeah, I dabbled and dabbled in 2020. That's because we were on lockdown and I ain't had nothing to do, and I wanted to start this drop shipping company. So I decided to do a podcast. But I love tech, but not enough to be looking up all the latest gadgets and gizmos, because eventually with that you're gonna need to have some videos of you testing it out. I didn't feel like doing all of that. It sounded fun and it was a novel idea in the beginning, but I had no interest in pursuing it. But with this is something I'm passionate about, because I want to be a better father. I want to be a better husband. That is my goal. And if you're listening to this, that is your goal. You want to be a better father, a better husband, and a better you. So let's do it together. You may not always know what you're going to do, but you're going to do it. And that's going to lead us to our next song. Okay. That was I'ma Do It by the rapper Fabulous. Because there's things to be done. And sir, you're going to do it. Whatever's on that list, I want you to say to yourself, I'ma do it. So we talked about motivation. We talked about procrastination. Let's talk about productivity. I'm going to read one article and we're going to wrap this up because we're already over an hour. This is the longest show yet. Kudos to you if you're still locked in. So this is from Inc.com. And notice I'm getting all this stuff from business places, right? Business articles. Because we are in the business of being in business, right? Whether you work for somebody or not, you are a business. You are an army of one. What did Jay-Z say? I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. Let me handle my business. Damn. We're about to handle that business. So listen, 15 ways to increase productivity at work. We're going to apply this to life though. Every minute of your life is gold. Are you treating it that way? There are so many hours in a day. So making the most of your time is critical. There are 2 ways to increase your output. Either put in more hours or work smarter. I don't know about you, but I prefer the latter. Yes, work smarter, not harder. Being more productive at work isn't rocket science. It does require being more deliberate about how you manage your time. This post will walk you through 15 simple but effective strategies for increasing your productivity at work. Track and limit how much time you're spending on tasks. You may think you're pretty good at gauging how much time you're spending on various tasks. However, some research suggests only around 17% of people are able to accurately estimate the passage of time. A tool like Rescue Time can help by letting you know exactly how much time you spend on daily tasks, including social media, email, word processing, and apps. Take regular breaks. That is so important. It sounds counterintuitive, but taking scheduled breaks can actually help improve concentration. Some researchers have shown that taking short breaks during long tasks helps you maintain constant levels of performance, while working at a task without breaks leads to steady decline in performance. Sidebar, there's a book called Super Learning. This is how I got so smart. Now, I was born like this, but I like to learn, and I figured out how to learn, how to improve my learning capabilities. There's a book called Super Learning. You need to look at it. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. The name says it all. There's also a book called Quantum Learning. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. The name says it all. But if you're open to improving, that's what you need to look at. Because sometimes in order to get to that next level, you got to learn something new. Super learning. Get it. Set self-imposed deadlines. While we usually think of stress as a bad thing, a manageable level of self-imposed stress can actually be helpful in terms of giving us focus and helping us meet our goals. For open-ended tasks or projects, try giving yourself a deadline and then stick to it. You may be surprised to discover just how focused and productive you can be when you're watching the clock. Follow the 2-minute rule. Entrepreneur Steve Olinsky recommends implementing the 2-minute rule to make the most of small windows of time you have at work. The idea is, if you see a task or action that you know can be done in 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. According to Olinsky, completing the task right away actually takes less time than having to get back to it later. Implementing this has made him one of the most influential content strategists online. Just say no to meetings. Meetings are one of the biggest time sucks around, yet somehow we continue to unquestionably book them, attend them, and inevitably complain about them. According to Atlassian, the average office worker spends 31 hours each month in unproductive meetings. Before booking your next meeting, ask yourself whether you can accomplish the same goal or task via email, phone, or web-based meeting, which may be slightly more productive. What they're saying is, cut out the stuff that doesn't make sense, right? Like, if you got this list and you're knocking stuff out, and your wife is like, hey, it's happened to me recently. I want to take the kids so and so. Be honest, I really don't want to go. Could you do it? You can make it up to her later. You schedule in some time where, you know what? Surprise them with something. Go get some ice cream. Take the kids to the park. Go on a date with the wife. But when you're locked in, stay locked in. Hold standing meetings. If you absolutely must have a meeting, there's some evidence that standing meetings, they're just what they sound like. Everyone stands, can result in increased group arousal, decreased territoriality, and improved group performance. For those times when meetings are unavoidable, you may want to check out the 12 unusual ways to spur creativity during meetings. Sidebar, I worked at a place, we were selling Fios before Fios was big. And it was a commission-based sales job. You had to walk your territory, park your car, you walk to different houses like a mailman, and you sell these Fios packages. People had to commit to having their street torn up, to install the fiber optic cable lines. I didn't last long. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't feeling it. Probably could have made a lot of money, but I'm good at saying no. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not doing it. I don't care how much money you can make. If it doesn't agree with my spirit, I'm not doing it. I'm not somebody that can do something just for money, because that ain't me. If you do something you hate for money, every time you spend $1, you sell a little bit of your soul. And I ain't into that. Quit multitasking. Oh, I'm sorry, no. So this job, sorry, I got sidetracked. When we would come in, they talked about standing meetings. When we would come in, they would have, people would be lined up and there would be like house music playing. And you had to go down the line and high five all of the managers. It was very cultish, but what they did was they motivated you. And we stood up during the meeting. They motivated you first thing in the morning as soon as you got in the door. They got your heart racing. They got your adrenaline pumping. They went over numbers. They went over stats. And then they talked about how you're going to go out there and kill it. It was super motivating. Sometimes I do it for myself. I don't high five anybody, but just like I said, play the music and do a little dance. Sometimes I pump myself up. Not as much as I used to, because I kind of am on my path now, but it absolutely works. Quit multitasking. While we tend to think of the ability to multitask as an important skill for increasing efficiency, the opposite, in fact, may be true. Psychologists found that attempting to do several tasks at once can result in lost time and productivity. Instead, make a habit of committing to a single task before moving on to your next project. What they're saying is you can only commit to one thing. You can only commit 100% to one thing. You could do 4 things, but they're only going to get 25% of your attention and focus at any given time. Do one thing. The word focus, follow one course until successful. Focus. Knock these things off one at a time. There's a saying that says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It may seem daunting at first. It may seem like a mammoth task, mammoth elephant. But one bite at a time, knock that bad boy out. Again, Rome wasn't built in a day. Lay the foundation, build it brick by brick. Take advantage of your commute. This goes for any unexpected bonus time you may find in your hands, suggested author Miranda Marquilt. Instead of candy crushing or Facebooking, use that time to pound out some emails, create your daily to-do list, or do some brainstorming. Sidebar, there is an app called ClickUp. Click, C-L-I-C-K, Up. Productivity app. Get it. I don't care if you're a small business owner, if you're just a dad. Get it. Go on YouTube, look up some videos, figure out how to make it work. It will save you hours. Makes you super productive. Because sometimes seeing things written down is all you need to get it done. Give up on the illusion of perfection. It's common for entrepreneurs to get hung up on attempting to be the perfect taskmaster. The reality is, nothing is ever perfect. Rather than wasting time on chasing after this illusion, bang out your task to the best of your ability and move on. It's better to complete the task and move it off your plate. If need be, you can always come back and adjust and improve it later. Which is why when I mess up while I'm reading, I said I'm not taking it out because it ain't perfect. I want you to see that I'm a human and I'm capable of flaws just like you, buddy. But if you're still locked in, kudos. Thanks for staying tuned. Take exercise breaks. Using work time to exercise may actually help improve productivity, according to a study published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine. If possible, build in set times during the week for taking a walk or going to the gym. Getting your blood pumping could be just what's needed to clear your head and get your focus back. Be productive, not reactive. Or be proactive. Excuse me. Be proactive, not reactive. Allowing incoming phone calls and emails to dictate how you spend your day will mean you do a great job of putting out fires, but that may be all you get accomplished. My friend and business partner, Peter, from Free Hosting Company says, set aside time for responding to emails, but don't let them determine what your day is going to look like. Have a plan of attack and start off each day, and then do your best to stick to it. Turn off notifications. Again, kill the distractions. Kill the threats. No one can be expected to resist the allure of an email, voicemail, or text. During work hours, turn off your notifications and instead build in time to check email and messages. This is all part of being productive, being proactive rather than reactive. Work in 90-minute intervals. Research at Florida State University found elite performance athletes, chess players, musicians, etc. work in intervals of no more than 90 minutes and are more productive than those who work 90 minutes plus. They also found that top-performing subjects tend to work no more than 4.5 hours per day. Sounds good to me. Give yourself something nice to look at. It may sound unlikely, but research shows some outfitting an office with an aesthetically pleasing elements like plants can increase productivity up to 15%. Jazz up your office space with pictures, candles, flowers, and anything else. It puts a smile on your face. Clean up your workspace. Clean up your man cave, clean up your bat cave, and put something aesthetically pleasing in there. If you're a sports guy, put up jerseys, pictures of your favorite team. Put up those Super Bowl pictures. If you collected cars back in the day, put that Flair pack from 1992 up on the wall. Or have a book on a coffee table. Focus other ideas on increasing your happiness quotient at work. Minimize interruptions to the best of your ability. Having a colleague pop her head into your office to chat may seem innocuous, but even brief interruptions appear to produce a change in work pattern and a corresponding drop in productivity. Minimizing interruptions may mean setting office hours, keeping your door closed, or working from home for time-sensitive projects. If you feel the need to increase your productivity at work, resist the temptation, put in longer hours, or pack more into your already full calendar. Instead, take a step back and think about ways you can work smarter, not harder. Looking for productivity tips? Check out my post, 7 productivity tips, blah, blah, blah. Okay, listen. I like this article, so I'm actually going to save this, and then I'm going to spin it into some content, some downloadable content that I can give to you guys. And I'll have that available a week or two, because we in this for the long haul. So I'm not going to lie to you, but it'll be ready tomorrow. It won't. I have to work tomorrow. And right now I'm on the East Coast. It's 12:15 my time. I got to be up in 7 hours. So I am going to put the pause on this thing. I feel like we did good today. You know, we're almost at an hour and a half. I'm happy about what I accomplished, because I wasn't going to do this. I was upstairs sitting on the toilet, full disclosure. And I was thinking, like, I want to get this out, but I'm tired. I was nodding off after dinner while my boys were watching cartoons. I put them to bed, and, you know, that little 30-minute cat nap was just enough. It got my batteries recharged. And I said, you know what? I owe it to the people that will listen to this in perpetuity to go down there and knock this out. And they're asleep, but somebody will wake up in about an hour, maybe even 20 minutes. So I'm going to go get a midnight snack. I'm going to take a shower. And I'm going to write a couple blog posts. And I'm going to go to bed by about 2 a.m., wake up at 5 and do this all over again. Because we're talking about being productive, right? I'm sacrificing sleep right now. I know I shouldn't be. But I need to get this workout. I need people to know that this thing is serious. So I hope you enjoyed the content today. I hope you enjoyed the music. If you didn't, I hope it motivates you to go find your own playlist to get you in the mood. Could be workout music, may not have to be, but it needs to be something that is inspiring, something that gets you to the point where you're going to get stuff done. Remember, stay positive, stay focused, stay motivated. Remember your mission, stay the course. And most importantly, stay cool. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast